Welcome to the Mimeoplasm, everybody's favorite 1960s horror monster. As far as opening hand goes, if we had one more land, I would keep this in a heartbeat. I love Hedron Crab getting the turn started. But we have no green ramp, and it's so hard not to keep this hand. Best of luck. We tried to play, our opponent tried to play earlier, but unfortunately they got stuck on one land. Yeah, we have to mulligan. I've kept some risky hands in the past, and this is not something we want to. Yeah, we can make this work. I like this. We've got Lotleth Troll. It's a good discard outlet. We'll grab a black-blue source off that. Got some good haste for Mimeoplasm, so we'll go ahead and keep on this. I think we'll make this work. Ooh, then Grizzly Salvage. Love that card. I was going to put that on top, and then our opponent is on the play, so we're going to let them do their thing. We are playing the Mimeoplasm, the official 1960s horror monster, so hopefully you can run away from him as you trip and fall in a timely manner, and then he catches up to you. It gets you, just like in all those horror monster movies. Let's go to get down Misty, and then actually we'll go and crack and grab a black-blue source. We'll grab Water Your Grave. That way we don't have to shock it in later. And I do not forget, and we'll go and pass turn to our opponent. Playing against Padeem. Actually, no, we need to cover the Mimeoplasm. As the Mimeoplasm enters the battlefield, you may exile 2 creature cards from graveyards, and that will include our opponent's graveyard too. If you do, it enters the battlefield as a copy of one of those cards, then enters the battlefield with an additional number of +1 counters on it equal to the power of the other card. Our opponent will end up going for a Relic of Progenitus on Misty, which is... Alright, gotta watch out for that. So, got a little bit of graveyard hate in the way, but we can make this work. It's not the end of the world that that's going to happen. Let's see if we can't kind of protect our graveyard at this point right now. Let's go ahead and get down Forest, and let's go ahead and go for Lotleth Troll. Usually one of the things that you want to do if you're playing a graveyard-style deck against some sort of graveyard hate is to kind of slowly start developing your graveyard to where it is a really nice graveyard, where it's not something super overpowerful. You know, you don't want to get Life from the Loam going, really keep dredging every single turn. If you can kind of slowly start to build that graveyard to where your opponent can't leave up that activation, you can kind of make it to where it's not as enticing for them to go for, but at the same time end up with something that kind of allows you to start to push your graveyard game plan a little bit. Let's go and get down Hall of the Bandit Lord, and this Cavern of Souls is actually a really nice draw, so let's go and get down Hall of the Bandit Lord. Let's go and push him for Lotleth Troll for 2, and if you were sitting at home hoping that we had a 15-turn clock with Lotleth Troll, hey, looks like we might get there, so or at least we're getting it started. Let's go and swing across for 2, knock him down to 28, and then anything else, we'll kick it back over there. Play against Padeem, Council of Innovation. Artifacts you control have hexproof. Then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control the highest, control the artifact with the highest converted mana cost, or tied for the highest converted mana cost, draw a card. Okay, now opponent will be getting down Padeem. Let's go and go for Grizzly Salvage in response to that. They have no blue mana up, well, technically Chromatic Lantern, but let's go and go for Grizzly Salvage, see if we can't kind of start to make this graveyard just a little bit better. And then let's go to Spirit of Night and then Underground River. Let's go and grab Underground River. Yeah, I like that. That'll be pretty good. That'll be a good option for us to go for with Spirit of Night. It's not going to be the best thing, but at least kind of force our opponent to maybe go for some sort of relic activation, possibly. Now, what we can do to at least go ahead and force the relic activation is if we want to end up going for Spirit of Night and Putrid Imp off of Mimeoplasm, that'll at least force them to go for the activation in response to it entering the battlefield. Let's go and exile Grizzly Salvage at this point. And we draw to Buried Alive. Let's go and get that's actually perfect because that's going to really allow us to reset our graveyard. Let's go and get down Windswept Heath. You know what, let's go ahead and go for Journey to Eternity on, let's go and crack Windswept Heath. We'll go and grab a black-blue source, a blue-green source since we do have Underground River in the hand. Let's go and grab Tropical Island. Let's go and go for Journey to Eternity on Lotleth Troll. It's going to be black-green and then doesn't really matter. So we'll get down Journey to Eternity, and then let's go and push across with Journey to Eternity because that's going to allow us to flip if we want to, so we can start to swing, keep up that Lotleth Troll clock too on our opponent. So I'm going to swing across for 2, and we'll see if Padeem wants to block on Lotleth or not. Okay, so Padeem will block, and that's actually going to work out because it's going to give us additional land and also keep us online for some sort of reanimator package with the cave, and that will bring back Lotleth Troll too. So, okay, got the cave down, and then anything else? No, let's go and kick it back over to our opponent. So next turn we are looking at going for the Mimeoplasm. We can get down Cavern of Souls, naming Ooze, and so that's going to give it not hexproof, excuse me. It's going to make it to where our opponent can't counter it, and at the same time they're going to have to wait while it's on the stack. They're basically going to have to go for that Relic of Progenitus activation before we get to target Spirit of Night. If not, that's basically going to give us a pretty nice clock coming across, and we still have some pretty good stuff in the graveyard if they do end up going for the activation that does not cost mana. Then once they do go for that pop, what we can do is go for Buried Alive to kind of reset our graveyard, and we'll be in a pretty good spot. We'll figure out exactly what sort of reanimator target we want to go for. There's a lot of fun options in here. One of the downsides to playing Mimeoplasm, sometimes it can be a little bit overpowered sometimes, so we always try to go for a nice fun graveyard mix if we go for something like Buried Alive. Alright, let's go and exile Windswept Teeth out of the graveyard, and let's see what we draw into Opulent Palace. Let's go and get down Cavernous Souls, and we're going to name Ooze on this one. There we go. Name Ooze. Let's go and go for Mimeoplasm. That's going to be blue, green, and then black. And let's go and give it haste too off of Hall of the Bandit Lord, just to really kind of entice this. Let's tap down on Tropical Islands. Let's go and cast Mimeoplasm. Can't be countered, and it will have haste now. And we're going to go and target Spirit of the Night, and then choose this as a copy, and then Putrid Imp's going to have the extra copy. So it does have haste at this point right now. Let's go and swing across for a 7/6 in the air. That does put us on a 3-turn commander damage clock too, so go and swing across the Spirit of the Night. Okay, opponent's going to go for an Effigy, exile target creature, so that's going to get rid of it. Let's see. Let's hoping they go for the Relic Pop. But yeah, that's fine. It gets exiled. We'll still kind of work towards Buried Alive going for that. And we can also sequence it to where with Cave, if they do end up going for Relic of Progenitus, we can actually just start going for Cave activations and then get that on the battlefield, because we're looking at 1, 2, 3. We do need to get a little bit of extra mana going, but we can make that work. Then anything else, no. We're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. Okay, get back over there. Now, one thing that can really kind of help us get some good stuff going is Lord of Extinction. If we had a really good graveyard going, it's always a lot of fun to get that down, get those +1 counters going on Mimeoplasm. Another thing that really allows us to get, kind of put some pressure on our opponent is going to be Simic Sky Swallower. Since it does have flying and it does have a Shroud, it's going to make it to where they can't target it with anything. So that's something that we can definitely go for. And then Lord of the Void, it's definitely always a lot of fun. Can't act spells cast, 1 less to cast. Creature control get +1/+1, and then no planeswalker activations. Okay, that's not. We can get around the that. Let's go and get down Opulent Palace. Yeah, planeswalker's abilities. Let's go and get an Opulent Palace, and let's go for Fauna Shaman. Yeah, I like that. We're gonna go for Fauna Shaman. It's gonna be green, and then we're gonna tap down on Tropical Island. Alright, then anything else? No, we're going to kick the turn back over to our opponent. So we're looking at 3 mana to go. Once we do get down Underground River, that will allow us to kind of go for that cave activation in response to that. So we definitely want to make sure we have a pretty good threat on the battlefield, and we don't have to worry about our opponent being able to target it with something. So the only downside is they do have the Immortal Sundown that will definitely allow them to get some really nice card draw going. So we need to keep that in mind as the game progresses, to keep that card draw going. Our opponent will get down Staff of Nin too, which is going to be pretty good. That's going to be a lot of card draw. Exile a card from the graveyard. Let's go and exile a Grapple with the Past. And let's see what else we hit. We're still online for the Underground River. Splendid Reclamation. A little late to the party. Let's go and get down Underground River. Let me make sure I'm looking at that correctly. Now we need to hit 1 more land to be online for Cave. You know, let's just go ahead and pass the turn to our opponent. Then hopefully we hit that land drop. I was counting Cave in our actually land drop. We need to have at least an additional land on the battlefield to go for that extra activation. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that we do hit a land drop, and that does kind of allow them to go for that relic activation on Lotlet Troll. But if they do end up going for that, we can still bring it back with the Cave activation. So we'll still end up with Lotlet Troll back on the battlefield, which is not too bad. Okay, to get the Immortal Sun card draw. Alright, so let's go in response to that. Let's go and go for the Cave activation. Return Lotlet Troll back to the battlefield. That's going to be black. And then we'll bring Lotlet Troll back, bring him safe out of the graveyard so he does not get exiled. Ooh, and opponent's going to go for Consecrated Sphinx. Okay, and that's going to be a ton of card draw. Especially with Staff of Nin and the Immortal Sun. So let's see what we can do about this one. Like I said, hopefully, fingers crossed, we do hit that land drop. That'll put us online for Buried Alive. And we'll see what it's going to allow us to really kind of push past what our opponent's got going on. All right, they're going to swing across with Padeem for 2. It's going to knock us down to 23, and that will be 2 total commander damage. Draw 2 Massacre Worm, and then draw 2 additional cards. You know, let's go ahead and go for a Fauna Shaman activation. Discard a creature card, touch your library for a card. Yeah, I think that'll work. And we can actually activate this at any point. So you know what? Let's just go and hold off at this point right now. Let's go and pass the turn. So we can go for the Fauna Shaman activation. And then with that in the graveyard, we can still go and bring that back. So it kind of puts us online next turn for having some sort of key spot removal or something like that. Whatever we want to bring back out. And that will unfortunately take care of Lotla Troll off of that that cave with that Staff of Nin. So it's going to be really hard for us to keep any sort of one toughness creature on the battlefield. But as far as what we can do, so like I mentioned, we can discard Massacre Worm. That does put us online on us bringing that back onto the battlefield, giving our opponent's creatures -2/-2. And so hopefully, whatever we decide to search up will definitely kind of help us get something going. We can get down Sire of Stagnation if we wanted to. That's going to allow us to at least kind of keep up with some of that card draw from our opponent. But with Consecrated Sphinx on the battlefield, it's going to be hard for us to kind of do anything outside of that. So opponent's going to go for Videlican Orrery. Okay. Okay, opponent's going to get down Lattice. It's going to make everything an artifact. And let's see what else they're going to swing in. It's going to be a 2/5 and a 5/7 coming across. Okay, they're going to send everybody in. Let's go and activate Fauna Shaman. It's going to be 1 green activation. Let's go and discard Massacre Worm. Okay, opponent's going to go for Relic of Progenitus. Let's go and go in response to that. Let's go for the Cave activation on Massacre Worm. Okay, opponent will finally go for the Relic of Progenitus pop off of that, so that we'll get rid of Massacre Worm and allow them to swing across on this one. So now they do have a ton of cards in the hand, but hopefully maybe we can get down Buried Alive. We'll still have the Fauna Shaman activation to go for too. Let's see what helps us out on this one. You know, let's go and grab Hedron Crab. That's going to be a good option for us to well, we want to discard something. You know, let's go and grab Phyrexian Dreadnought. That's going to allow us to at least have another option in the hand. We can discard that down to Fauna Shaman and give us a bunch of different +1 counters. That does kind of leave us open to going for Buried Alive. So hopefully we're going to be able to get down something with Buried Alive and then go for Mimeoplasm off of that. So let's see what we draw into. Draw into Mesmeric Orb. That will allow them to draw 2 cards. Now the only downside with our opponent having a ton of cards in the hand is that we're kind of open to something like Cyclonic Rift. But we're still going to go and force the issue. So let's go and go for Buried Alive. It's going to be black. All right, let's go and get this popped out. Let's go and grab Inkwell Leviathan. Let's go and grab Simic Sky Swallower. So let's go Inkwell Leviathan. Let's go ahead and go for Simic Sky Swallower. And let's go ahead and go for Eternal Witness. I think this is going to be a pretty good spread off of that. Do we want to get down Mesmeric Orb? That'll allow us to get a little bit extra card draw going into the graveyard. Yeah, I think that's good. And it still keeps us online for Fauna Shaman. Let's go and tap down Cavernous Souls. It's going to be 1 colorless, and that still leaves us online for 1 activation on Fauna Shaman. And actually, if we want to, on Fauna Shaman, we can get down Phyrexian Dreadnought and actually just sacrifice Dreadnought to get into the graveyard. But with Fauna Shaman, that will at least allow us to kind of chunk that into the graveyard and kind of tutor up whatever sort of card that we want. Okay, anything else? No. Let's go and pass the turn to our opponent. So once we do, basically what we have right now, we do have Hall of the Bandit Lord that will allow us to tap down on Mimeoplasm. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're definitely online for Mimeoplasm around that commander tax. We will be able to give it haste off of Hall of the Bandit Lord. Uh-oh. All right, opponent's going to flash into Minarch, and I think that's going to be gain control target artifact. That's going to be everything across the board. Yeah, good game to our opponent. They're going to get it on this one. So basically, they're going to be able to keep going for those activation to gain control of artifacts and then take it over from there. So we're going to go and scoop this one up because even if we do get down some sort of big reanimator option, they will definitely be able to steal it from there. But unfortunately, that's one of the downsides to playing a big reanimator deck like this sometimes is sometimes you kind of run into a Relic of Progenitus and it's hard for you to kind of get your graveyard going. You kind of do this weird graveyard dance, but at the end of the day, usually kind of keeps you in check. So, but if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.